Hello, Ken Spriggs here with a video going over a convention that I was able to attend yesterday, Saturday, April 17th in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I live in Indiana, obviously. I've been there once before. It's called the Roscoe Turner chapter of the IPMS national organization. IPMS stands for the International Plastic Modelers Society. And they have conventions in pretty much every state, throughout the year. Then they have a national convention. So I did go to the national convention in August of 2019 in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I'd shown a video for that. And then last year, the one in Indianapolis was the only one that I was able to attend because they canceled all the other conventions, and especially ones nearby me. So very happy to be able to go to that again and enter my models. And I will go ahead and show you some stills here to begin with of the different models, including my own that I'll start with. I took 3 of them down. I took down my Ahsoka Tano meeting the Mandalorian, of course. I took my Predator POD ship, and I took my Mando and Queel riding their blurgs in the desert. Now they have a little different system than what they have at Wonderfest. They have categories that you enter, and you can only win 1 award per category. So I actually had models in 2 categories. The Mando and Queel riding blurgs and the Mando meeting Ahsoka Tano are both considered science fiction dioramas. And the POD ship was in the fictional spaceship category, sci-fi spaceship. So all right, so let me go ahead and show you some stills of my 3 models, and then I'll show you some other stills of some models from the show. And I do want to highlight a few of them and talk about them a little bit, and I'll do that once I show them. All right. All right, so those stills, besides showing my 3 models in the beginning, I focused on the science fiction and the real space entries into the contest. Now, IPMS is for any type of models, and they have quite a few categories. The more popular ones are going to be the military, like the tanks, planes, ships, that type of thing. They also have quite a few cars that are entered. And science fiction is generally the smallest category that's entered, that in like the fantasy figures, that sort of thing. But there was still a pretty decent representation of them there. And so I took some shots and focused on the ones that were there. So there were some pretty cool looking ones that people had made. And one of the ones that I liked a lot was the big giant SpaceX spaceship. It was really tall. And that was prominently shown on the table there in a couple of shots. So let me go ahead and show you now some of the figures and just some of the miscellaneous types of things as well that I thought were kind of cool. So these next stills that I want to show are some of the larger builds that were presented. They're going to be of some ships and or planes, that type of thing. But they're usually very detailed. Some of them are even completely scratch built, which is pretty phenomenal. Quite a bit of detail. And some of the ships even have imitation water to look like there's waves or even smoke coming out of the smokestacks using cotton and things like that. So let's take a look. All right, these next group of stills, I wanted to focus on some pretty cool looking 3D printed kits that were entered. And some of them were not even painted. They were just 3D printed. It looks like filament 3D printing in different colors, including one that's a really amazing looking engine and all the parts inside of it. And it's really, really cool. I think a lot of these were from the same creator because the descriptions on the paperwork look to be a lot the same. So that's very possible about how they printed it, what type of printer they used, that sort of thing. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. All right, so some really amazing 3D printed figures, especially, I believe that's a jet engine or an airplane engine, just phenomenal. And I tried to get some images on the inside to show the different parts that were molded in different colors, but just incredible. The last few stills I wanted to really get some good shots on, and I really like that sign, and I couldn't agree more. I love 3D printing, and I will definitely be continuing that for many of my builds, you know, in the far-flung future. But it isn't a simple process where you simply get a file, you push a button and out pops a model fully rendered and ready to go. There's a lot of work involved. You're literally creating the model before you actually build the model. And I don't mean creating it like you're creating the actual design or character, but you're printing out all the parts of the model, supporting them. You get failures in it, you have to clean them up, that sort of thing. So it's definitely can be challenging and can be a lot of work at times. It's very rewarding though in the end with what you accomplish, and I fully agree with that sign. So I thought that was cute that he had the little robot and the different parts of the robot, probably some failed parts that he tried in the first place to make that happen. So All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at some of the military vehicles that that I really liked, that they also built up some little dioramas with and did some really cool weathering. The military aren't really my forte in building, but I can absolutely appreciate all the hard work that goes into them, and quite a bit more sometimes, because they have to be detailed to a particular type of tank or military campaign or country or battle or that type of thing. So there's a lot of research that goes into a lot of what these are, of how these are painted and detailed and weathered. So kudos goes to them, and my hat's off to them as well for the fantastic job that they do. So let's take a look at some of those. All right, so some really great models, some really awesome dioramas, little mini dioramas built there. Really love them. So these next shots, I'm going to show just some overall shots of the model room and kind of give you an idea of how large it was. It wasn't really super huge. It was at a facility where they do the state fair every year, and so it's a local show, so it's not going to get thousands and thousands of entries, probably several hundred. I'm not sure the exact number, but it's a really cool show and I like it. It's definitely a personalized kind of thing. So let me show you some of those and kind of give you an idea of what the contest room looked like. All right, so the last thing I want to show you here before I go on to how I did in the contest is I'm going to show you the vendor room and just show you some of the things that I ended up purchasing, some nice scores that I got, which is always one of the good parts of these conventions as well, is getting either some new models or some new tools or supplies, things like that. So let's take a look. All right, and as usual, whenever I go to a convention, I always like to check out the dealers' rooms quite extensively and look at all the cool merchandise and the models and stock up on some things that I either need or some new model kits, that sort of thing. So I did come away with some nice things. So we'll get and start there in the back. I picked up the it's actually the Invaders Flying Saucer. It's the square box version from Atlantis. Atlantis has another version as well, and I've built this kit obviously many times, and I have gotten several of the versions, including the original Monogram and the Aurora, but I like this one especially because it comes with a clear top, which the original I believe the original Aurora one had a clear top, also with a solid top. And the reason for that is that if I want to light those little ridges going around it, I could mask those off and paint the rest of the clear saucer, and it would be an easy task to do so. You can see right there those darkened ridges. Since they're clear, I could just mask them and leave them clear, and be able to light them up. So, okay, but I've always liked this. I've always liked this spaceship from the Invaders, and when they released this, I knew eventually I'd want to pick up a copy, and they had it there, so I did pick one up. So excellent. I picked up a couple of materials for weathering. I got a Vallejo. I looked around and I tried to find some ice and snow effects. This is the only thing I found. I'm not sure if it's something I'll end up using or not, and it might work on my current thing build if I want to build up some snow on some things. But I'll show you that here in a second. I also picked up some Abtalung 502 pigments, some Ashes White. I use white more than I use anything else. Any of the Tamiya pigments that I use, white is the one I use the most because it goes over any color of paint and lights it up. It also takes down the gloss, that kind of thing. It makes it look more realistic. And then I picked this up because I've read about it and I've seen people use it. It's called Pigment Fixer. And it's for exactly that, for fixing pigment, because I have some of my other pigments in the big clear tubes that are really strong, and they tend to want to stay on the model and rub off on your hands. So I want to try this out and see how that works as far as fixing that in place. And the person did say that this could be airbrushed, so I will give it a shot and see how it works. Let me go ahead and just open these two up and just kind of show you the texture of them, which is kind of cool. All right, so I've used material like this before. I have a version from Hobby Lobby. I think it's called Snowtex. Theirs is a little on the cheaper side, so this might be a little better quality since it's from Vallejo. So I'll give it a try. But I generally try to stay away from these just because they go on and they don't tend to look the most realistic because they have that real granulated look to them. So we'll see how that works. But it was certainly worth a try. This I really like, and I didn't know that Abtalung 502 made weathering powders, but this looks really good. So that can just be applied with a brush and then use some of the pigment fixer over top of it. Okay, and the last two things I got are some tools, and I'm always trying to get some of these things, especially Dremel bits. This is a really nice set for $5. They're a little on the cheaper side, but I'm not that worried about it. For $5 and 20 pieces of them, they are a whole lot of different shapes that have that rough, I guess it's supposed to be diamond tipped on it. And a lot of them are very thin, or you have some rounded ones or some more squared off ones, pointed, that type of thing. So these are nice. I actually use these a lot. I have a couple of them, and I use them a lot as far as like opening up some different holes and things like that, and contouring them properly. So this will be really good to have, and these will all work in my Dremel. So this was a nice little set that I picked up. And then I picked up a set of really fine drill bits. You can see the tiniest little one right there. That's my thumb. The really thin ones are hard to keep because they break a lot. They're very fragile, but they're very nice. I'll be using these in my pin vise. And so this is a nice little set, and plus they're in this little case that I can carry them in or store them in and just access them when I need them. So, okay. All right. So a decent little haul, not too bad. Some things that I was looking for, and definitely helped to assist me in my model building. All right. So as far as the contest is concerned, yet again, I went away a winner, this time with 2 awards on 2 of my 3 models that I entered, which I'm really, really proud of. I won a first place in dioramas for my Mandalorian meets Ahsoka Tano build. And I won a second place for my Predator POD ship as well, which I'm also very proud of. I also took along the Mando and Queel riding their blurgs in a diorama. Now, I did not win an award for those, but they were in the same category as the Ahsoka Tano build, so you cannot win the same award in two of them. So let's go ahead and take a look at those, and I'll show you the models with their awards. All right, and there are my two winning entries from the contest. I also entered my Mandalorian, Queel, and Mando on the desert. Now, I didn't expect that this would necessarily win, only because it's in the same category as this one. And you can only win once per category, so it's very possible I may have won a second or third place if I hadn't entered this, or they weren't in the same category. So that's fine, but definitely happy with this one. This is my favorite, and this is the one that I expected to win. So there's my first place medallion, which is in a gold color. I'll show you the back of it. It's pretty thick too. It's a nice little medallion. It's the Invitational IPMS Roscoe Turner chapter, Indianapolis, which is what it is. That's the name of it. Invitational contest and swap meet. Okay, and a picture of Roscoe Turner on the front. I hadn't really looked into his history. Obviously has something to do with flying, but the chapter is named after him, the IPMS Indianapolis chapter. So, okay. And then there is my Predator POD ship in the same medallion, except it's in a silver color. I didn't get a chance to look at the third place, and I didn't realize at the time that they were different colors when I was taking pictures of them at the convention. So, but I would imagine this may be in a copper looking or something, or bronze or something. So I'm not sure, but that is pretty cool. There's both of those. There's my first place award for the first thing from Another World that I won, and they change it up each year. So that's the first place from last year. This is the first place from this year from the same convention. So, but I like that idea. I like that they change it up and I can get some different awards that have a different appearance to them. So it's pretty cool. All right. So really good convention. I'm really happy to be going back to them. As I said, it's been a little over a year since I was able to go to the last one because of all the situations last year. So very happy to have won some awards, and I'll finish up this video with a couple of stills of those as well and showing them there at the convention. And I will be attending the Wonderfest convention, God willing, coming up in the beginning of June, and I will have quite a bit more models to enter to that one, at least 10 models, if not 11. So definitely stay tuned. Thank you to all my new subscribers, and I will be continuing work on my MacCready versus the Spider thing, and also continuing work on my Discovery build to get those completed for Wonderfest as well. All right, thanks a lot.